the top 3 mistakes that people make when drafting board minutes. To make things as easy as possible, I'll be doing 2 main things. Number 1, I'll be sharing my screen so you can see exactly what needs to be done step by step. Number 2, I'll link in the description below free templates and guides, including step-by-step guide to drafting board minutes, template board minutes, and a template notice to the directors that you can freely download right now. But before we get started, let me introduce myself. I'm Zoppi, an English qualified solicitor and the managing director of my firm, Zoppi. And my goal on YouTube is to make business law as easy as possible for business owners like you. Make sure to stay until the end to learn about the top 3 mistakes that people make when drafting board minutes. Amazing, let's get started. So right here, you should be able to see my screen. This is the step-by-step guide, and there are 8 main steps, starting with step number 1, which is to download the free templates. Again, they are linked in the description below. You can download them right now. Assuming that you've done that, we can move on to step number 2, which is to draft the notice. And this is document A that you will have downloaded. This is what it looks like. It's a 1-pager, very straightforward. All you need to do is complete this table right here. And the way it works is that we have a defined term on the left that is used in the body of the notice itself. You can see that it is defined because it uses capital letters. And then on the right side, we have the actual definition that you will need to complete according to your requirements. So just as an example, company, definition of company is your company's name. Now we can come back to the step-by-step guide and move on to step number 3, which is to prepare the board minutes. Now it is best to prepare them in advance. We can use document B, which is the template board minutes, and this is what it looks like. Similarly to the notice, we again use a table where you will need to define the specific terms used in the body of the board minutes. Present, this is where you will list the directors that are actually present at the board meeting, whether physically or, for example, via virtual means, whether it's Google Meet or a phone call. And then apologies, you'll want to include any directors who are directors of the company but could not make it to the meeting. And then if you want, you can also add another section for in attendance, which is any other people who actually attended the board meeting but are not directors. For example, any company secretaries or lawyers. Okay, just very quickly to confirm, here you'll want to define the specific things, for example, meeting time and date. Then we can move on down here once you've completed the table with their definitions. Here we actually find the body of the board minutes. Ideally, these for simple transactions that, for example, do not need the approval of shareholders or anything complex, you might not need to amend the body of the board minutes as much. Again, this is not legal advice and you should seek legal assistance. But for the purposes of this video, I try to make it as easy as possible for you guys. Amazing. So, and this is all there is. There is the body of the board minutes and the defined terms that you will need to input. Amazing. So once you've done that, we can move on to step number 4, which is to send the notice to the directors using the contact information that is stored in your company's statutory registers. Now, if the word statutory registers that should be kept by your company is scaring you because possibly you don't have any, know that you're not the only company that doesn't. But in brief, statutory registers are like spreadsheets that record important information about your company, including who are the directors, who are the shareholders, and the people with significant control. They need to be kept internally, and in theory, Companies House almost acts as a reflection of the contents of your statutory registers. Like Facebook records in a way what happens in real life. Now, if you need statutory registers, I've linked above a video, and if you click on it and look in the description of that video, you'll find a link to download the free template statutory registers. You can do so right now. Broadly speaking, you'll need to send a notice that you drafted using document A to each of the directors of the company. Amazing. Once you've done that, we can move on to step number 5, which is to actually attend the board meeting and update the board minutes if needed. Fantastic. Now, once that has been done, the chairman of the board will need to sign the board minutes. Now, before we move on to discussing the legal record-keeping requirements for your company, make sure to subscribe to the channel because it will continue to give you pragmatic, practical, and to-the-point legal information and templates. Also, if you're after some bespoke legal advice, make sure to check out my website, which is linked in the description below. Fantastic, coming back to the guide. We have step number 7, which is to file the relevant forms with Companies House. This will very much depend on what was discussed in the board meeting, so you will need to do that on an ad hoc basis. And then finally, step number 8 is to keep your board minutes at your company's registered office address for at least 10 years. Again, this is a legal requirement in the UK under the Companies Act 2006. But before you get started with drafting the board minutes, make sure to watch this video because it will outline the top 3 mistakes that people make when drafting board minutes. Watch it right here, right now. Thanks for watching.